What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video, back with the Mock Draft Mondays, and it's actually my turn right now. So I'll do an intro after I do my pick. So Zeke, oh yeah, we're going with Alvin Kamara here. You guys know. All right, so my rankings. I'll just start off: Zeke, Kamara, McCaffrey, Barkley, DJ. That's how I have the top five in half-point PPR. It might change a little bit under the different scoring formats. And so this is Mock Draft Monday, but also the Subscriber League Challenge. So like all the Mock Draft Mondays starting a few weeks ago, you guys decide. So you guys decide based on all of these teams who had the best draft. That person is going to get a spot in the Subscriber League. Pretty simple. I haven't actually checked for last week's. I'm going to do that right when I finish recording this. But leave a comment. Be like, hey, I like EPD 1986, and then check out other people's comments, have a discussion on who you guys think had the best draft, and I guess why you think maybe they had the best draft. We'll do the stat of the day. I think I wrote that down. So this was, yesterday's was, there were 6 tight ends with 12 or more deep targets last season. Kelsey, Ebron, Kittle, Njoku, Gronk, and who? And you would have thought Ertz. Ertz did not. Ertz had like 6. I was pretty surprised about that. Answer was Jimmy Graham and Cam Sweet. Got that one correct. Today's stat. Among quarterbacks with at least 100 dropbacks, who had the lowest average time to throw? Pretty simple one there. See who can get that one first. And there's only quarterbacks. There's only so many quarterbacks that had 100 dropbacks. That's like, what would 100 dropbacks be? A few starts? That'd be like 3 starts, kind of. So, first round. Nothing crazy. Melvin Gordon goes 5 ahead of David Johnson. Probably wouldn't do it that way. The first round hasn't really been that crazy at all. Hopefully this guy shows up to make his pick. But I got a question, I don't know, I think it was today actually, about how to use the rankings. Because you guys know on our website, we do tiered rankings. So I split off, say, like I believe the first tier is through David Johnson, not including Melvin Gordon, so that 5. And then there's another tier of running back, and they're kind of in chunks. And how I recommend people use that is to say, I am the 11 pick. And it's coming up on my pick, and the running backs, let's just say there's like 2 running backs left at the at your pick. There's 2 running backs left in tier 2, let's just say. And all of the wide receivers in tier 1 are still on the board. Like they say there's like 3 tier 1 wide receivers left. So with that pick, you're getting a tier 1 wide receiver, but you don't guarantee you're getting a tier 1 running back. Because, of course, this guy gets 2 picks. He gets 12 and he gets 13. He could take 2 of the running backs. So then you'd be stuck probably taking 2 tier 1 wide receivers, which is still good, but it's something to think about and say, ooh, I, with this first pick, can take the running back, and then I can take the wide receiver with the next pick. So you don't need a top 250. I recommend people don't draft off a top 250. I recommend people just look and say, here are my rankings for running backs, here's wide receivers. I've done a bunch of mock drafts. I know that my team, I don't feel comfortable with it unless I'm taking 3 running backs in the first 4 picks. So I'm targeting these running backs first. That's how I recommend people draft. You can do like a top 20. So if you want to use our rankings, use the top 20 overall as a good, like, this is how I would rank them no matter what I've already done. But once you get past the top 20, it's entirely dependent on who you've drafted at that point in the draft. Like if you've gone wide receiver, well, now the running backs have a lot more value, so you can't really use a top 250. So that's kind of how I tell people to draft based off of our rankings. So once you get past your 3rd round pick, entirely just look at running back, just look at wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, like who's left in each of these positions, and draft based off of that. Surprising though, this is actually pretty interesting. So I'll kind of sort by running backs here. We saw a run at the top 6 for running back, but then I don't think I've seen this yet. Going Hopkins, Adams, Julio, Thomas, Odell, just boom, 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 right in a row. That's a little surprising to me. I don't think I've seen this yet in a mock draft. Usually people just start taking the running backs. It's not really going to affect what we do because all of those wide receivers were going to be taken by our next pick, and now we're just going to see a run at running back. So it doesn't affect my team, but I'd be pretty excited, I think you can get some really good running back value if you're one of these like 10, 11, 12 teams. So they're probably pretty excited that a lot of the wide receivers went off the board. Who do we think we're going to get? I bet you AB goes. We'll probably be left with this like Mike Evans, T.Y. Hilton, Keenan Allen kind of range. That's because I mean I do expect a running back, maybe more like T.Y. Keenan Allen. That's probably the 2 wide receivers that will be the next best available. And then I bet you Bell, Mixon, Connor all get taken. Probably Dalvin Cook. We're probably going to have I was going to say Nick Chubb, the option. Wow, that's pretty early. I hope, and this is what kind of stinks about the 3 pick. You guys know I've just been jumping around the different draft spots to try and just get a draft in each position. I really don't like some of these early picks when you have to take like that Aaron Jones, Marlon Mack with like this 3-4. Like I would prefer to get one of the second tier running backs because I do have the drop off, I believe, at Marlon Mack, or it might be right after him. But like it'd be really nice to get a Bell, Connor, Cook with this next pick. That'd be a really nice start, but it just doesn't seem to happen. You kind of only get those guys when you're in that like 5, 6, 7 range. So when people do ask me what my favorite spot is, I do really like 5 because I have 5 running backs in my tier 1. So I'm guaranteed to get a tier 1 running back. And then on that next pick, a lot of times you can still get another tier 2 running back. So you can start off really, really nicely. But I am cool with like a lot of draft picks. I mean, I really do also like this 9, 10, 11, 12 range because you're getting 2 studs. And I don't like 7 as much because like the difference between Hopkins and Odell really isn't that big of a difference, but I get a much better pick at my running back. Like I just get the next, I get the 14 pick. So if you are wondering, I like 5, I like 9, 10, 11, 12. But I mean, you really can't go wrong with saying, I mean, I just got Alvin Kamara. Like he's going to be really good for me, so I'm not going to complain about that. But they did go. The Dalvin Cook, Bell, Connor, they're gone. And so my tier 1 isn't there anymore. I could consider going with Antonio Brown, but I've got, because I believe he's my next rated player. But this kind of stinks because I like T.Y., Keenan Allen, Diggs, Cooper, like Thielen, all these guys kind of the same. So since I don't really care, I'll take one of them with my 3rd pick. So I am going to take a running back with this next pick, unless Antonio Brown's there. So here's my option. I take Antonio Brown, and then I probably lean running back with the next pick. Odds are I'm going to get, right? Odds are I get one of Henry, Mack, Aaron Jones, and Fournette. So that'd be really nice to pair with Antonio Brown. I really do think Derrick Henry will be there. Option 2 is I take my next rated player, Marlon Mack, and then I go with wide receiver. I think I'm just going to do Antonio Brown. I'm going to do Antonio Brown because I'm pretty sure these guys aren't both going to take the running backs. All we need to see is one wide receiver taken here because I'm kind of cool with any of those running backs, although I prefer Derrick Henry and Marlon Mack. But let's see. Yeah, so one of them got taken. So we were hedging our bets there and we got it. So we're going to get one of these guys. Hopefully it's not Fournette. Very much prefer it not to be Fournette, but I think I would still take him, and actually will give a Fournette take after I draft Derrick Henry. But you guys have heard me be off Fournette. I think it was a terrible decision from that organization to draft him. I think that they set themselves behind, definitely, although they also set themselves behind with Bortles at quarterback. But they lost the AFC. It was the AFC Championship game, the AFC, whichever game they played against the Patriots. They lost that because they played Fournette. If they hadn't played him, they'd have won that game. And he was just dreadful. I mean, if you look at some advanced metrics on him when he's been playing, it's awful. And they lose games because they're playing him in the second half. Now, it's also game script related, and the team just hasn't been good. The thing is, none of that relates to fantasy. In fantasy, I want a guy who's going to touch the ball a ton. And when you look at that depth chart, there's no one. I'm not scared of Alfred Blue. Like, there's no one on that depth chart that's going to challenge Leonard Fournette. So I've got a guy who's locked in. If he stays healthy, he's locked into, 280 carries? So that's monster volume. He's got all the goal line work. He is an incredible athlete. So he can do like a Saquon last year where he was exceptional in yards per carry because of some long runs. That's something that Leonard Fournette could do. And he's not a bad receiver, so he could absolutely excel in the receiving game. So you add all those things up, and the only concern with Leonard Fournette is that the dude can't stay healthy. But Is that a risk that's worth taking in the mid-third round where this guy just got him? Yeah, because the upside of having David Johnson and Leonard Fournette, I mean, they could both realistically finish 1-2. I wouldn't be shocked. No one would be shocked if Leonard Fournette finished that high to pair with Mike Evans. So it's a good range in the third round because every other running back has a problem. Like Freeman has injury risk too. Josh Jacobs, what have we seen? Nothing, right? So, and I don't actually think, I don't want to like poo-poo, Josh Jacobs. I don't think that he should have gone as early as he did, but that's just my don't draft running backs early kind of thing in actual NFL. But like, we don't know. He's a rookie. We don't know how good he's going to be. David Montgomery, we still don't know. He's a rookie. We don't know how good he's going to be. Mark Ingram being way overdrafted given the volume. So like, look at all the other running backs in that range. Fournette's easily got the most upside. So I'm cool with Leonard Fournette, even though I don't like him from like a Jaguars standpoint. Like if the Jaguars hired me, I'd tell them, why are you drafting Leonard Fournette? It makes no sense from a team perspective. But anyways, he's a fine pick in the third round. And then obviously you guys know I love Derrick Henry. The dude's set to see an absolutely incredible amount of volume on a top 5 offensive line. His quarterback's now healthy. They brought in weapons so they can't just stack the box against him. I mean, they're getting back Delaney Walker. A.J. Brown was probably my favorite wide receiver. Not saying he's the best wide receiver in the draft class, but he was one of my favorites in that he can produce right away. Adam Humphries was a solid wide receiver last season. Obviously, they have Corey Davis. Like, it's a good offense. I want running backs on a good offense. Are they going to be a good offense? They have the talent to be. Are they going to coach themselves into a bad offense? Certainly possible. I don't like their coaching staff, but could they be really good? They have the talent to be. Yeah. And if they're going to give him, 20 carries a game, he's going to crush a third round draft capital. So here's my thoughts right now. I do want O.J. Howard. I'd prefer him in the 5th. I'd be fine with him late 4th, but I kind of want to see what's available. So I love Godwin. I think Ridley's a good pick. Tyler Lockett's a good pick. Christian Kirk is way too low. I'd have to reach on him probably if I want him. I don't think I'd get him in the 6th, but hopefully get him in the 6th. So my thoughts, I could go Godwin and then hope that Howard is still there. I can take Drake because it's like Drake, Lindsey, Henderson, Penny, but I might be able to wait on those guys too. So here are my options. Drake, Godwin. Wait on DJ Moore. Can wait on those guys. No, I'm going to take... Yeah. No. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see if I can get it. No, I'm not. Okay, O.J. Howard. I'm going to take O.J. Howard because I want him with that 5th pick. But the thing is, I see a few guys that I don't really care which one I get. I'd be deciding between Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, probably DJ Moore, and Drake. And I highly doubt that all 4 of those guys go with the next one. And since I don't really care which one I get, I'm guaranteed to lock one of them up. I mean, I would have been taking... And he probably would have taken O.J. Howard. So I wouldn't have gotten O.J. Howard, and I still would have been drafting between one of them. Then I really don't even know which one I want for my team. So take O.J. Howard. But you can do that. If when you are on one of these turns and you see that there's a grouping of guys, you're like, I don't really care which one I get, but maybe you think it's too early to take O.J. Howard or Hunter Henry or Kittle or Ertz. I'm not really drafting Kittle or Ertz this year. But someone like that, you think, oh, but I don't want to really reach on that. I'd rather wait till my next pick. Well, if you don't care about the players, then wait till your next pick. Like, okay. Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Antonio Brown, O.J. Howard. We're good at running back, although you're never good at running back. You should always be drafting running backs. I'd be cool with Henderson here, but I don't think I need to. So the pick would probably be Lindsey. It'd be Lindsey for running back. But I kind of want to draft another wide receiver. There's some really nice ones I like here, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of them are going to get taken the next pick. So it's between Calvin Ridley and DJ Moore. I guess there's a chance DJ Moore doesn't get taken with the next one. So I should probably try with that. Yeah, we'll just try it. We'll take Calvin Ridley in the hopes that DJ Moore isn't taken, but I'd be shocked. I'd be pretty shocked if he doesn't go. But we're really looking forward. The next one is Christian Kirk. That's the guy we really want. I think that he's being okay. DJ Moore goes with the very next pick. I think Kirk is being severely underdrafted this season. Just the volume of plays they're gonna run and how good the kid was last season. Remember, he broke his foot, so he didn't play a full season. But in just that pathetic offense, he was pretty good as a rookie. He's the clear standout in camp right now. I know we should take that with a grain of salt, but he's at least having a good camp. There's no bad words about him. And he's set to be the one. I mean, he's set to be probably the most targeted wide receiver ahead of Fitzgerald this season. So I'm getting the most targeted receiver on the offense with the highest volume, and he's been going in like the 6th round, which is kind of nuts. I don't know if people have not bought into the air raid offense. I don't know, but you should, because it's a pretty good offense. With the next pick, you guys know my strategy of waiting on quarterback. We've already locked up tight end, so we're good drafting the next 6 rounds probably of hold on. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, this is a league of my subscribers, so so no one's drafting quarterback. Obviously, the strategy in a league like this is to wait, because you're going to get insane value in like the 14th, 15th round. I don't know how many they go. But if anyone drafts Patrick Mahomes here, I didn't even think about that. If I, like, in your real drafts, I highly doubt it would ever go this long without Mahomes being taken. But if I had seen that at the 5, I'm taking him. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes if I see that instead of the Calvin Ridley pick. Because then you've got the quarterback 1, a guy who could legitimately finish tight end 1, running back that could finish running back 1, and a wide receiver that could finish wide receiver 1. Like, you could literally lock up all the ones in your first 5 picks. And yeah, I would, if I had noticed that. But the thing is, in your hometown leagues, there's absolutely no way that happens. Like, there's no way Patrick Mahomes goes at the 5-11. Not going to happen. So it was exceptional value for him to get, and I guess I wish I had noticed that, but it's not going to happen. Everyone in this draft knows my strategy of waiting on quarterback, and they've seen how these leagues work with the first the first 2 that we've done. Everyone's been waiting, and so there's insane value late. But since we did, we'll continue with this draft. We've locked up 2 and 2. So we've got Kamara and Derrick Henry. Very confident in both of them. And then Antonio Brown and Calvin Ridley. So we have no preference here. Obviously, when you have no preference, your running back is your preference. But, like, we have no dire need. We didn't go RB0. We didn't go 3 and 1. We're good to take another just 1 and 1, which is how I really do like drafting. Just keep going 1 and 1. Keep taking the value at each spot. Don't lock yourself into a box. So who are we looking at with this next one? We see some of the running backs I like getting taken off the board, and Penny and Henderson. Coleman is an option. Don't love it, but it's an option. Definitely Latavius Murray. Definitely Ronald Jones. Royce Freeman as well. Then I see a drop. It'll be interesting to see where people go with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson. You guys heard my take Friday's video, Saturdays, Sundays? In a video over the past few days, you heard my take about I believe that Melvin Gordon is going to receive a new contract. I do not believe they're going to trade him. They're set up to have a Super Bowl run. This is a Super Bowl caliber team, and they know that. You know, they're not going to jeopardize the Super Bowl this season to be like, hey, it's not a smart move going forward. They know it's not a smart move going forward. Like, they're not a dumb organization. They don't have an analytics department, but they're not a dumb organization. They've made some smart moves. So they look at this and they're like, yeah, not good on our part to pay him. But if we don't, we significantly decrease our chance at a Super Bowl this year. It helps us going forward, but this year it hurts us a little bit because obviously it's a downgrade. I know that the running back position doesn't matter that much, but it is a downgrade going from Melvin Gordon to a backfield of Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson. So they're going to look at that and be like, can we justify not paying him and sacrificing a chance at the Super Bowl? No, they're not going to justify that. So they are going to end up paying him this season. unless they find a trade partner that they get something crazy for. But I mean, how often do you see high-end running back trades? Like, you see lower-end running back trades, but how often do you see high-end running back trades? Not very often. So I'm pretty sure he's going to get the contract. And so if you're reaching for Eckler and Justin Jackson right now, like, I get it. You can still, like, Eckler's still a good pick where he was going. Just don't overdraft those guys, because their value is hypothetically higher, but I don't really think it's going to end up being higher. That's just my take on those players. Wow, Damian Harris is rising in draft boards. But we still like the Harris and Hill, but we're not taking up the next pick. So next pick would be between Latavius Murray, Tevin Coleman, and Ronald Jones. Those three, or at least for running back. For wide receiver, it's between... did Kirk get taken? Rats. Okay, so Kirk got taken. Pettis got taken. It would be between Landry, Alshon, Robbie Anderson, like all those guys. So here's another thing to consider. I listed 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers that I like. Our option is lock up 2 of those because there's only 7 picks left, and they're not all going to get taken, although 1 did get taken there. But probably not all going to get taken. Or do we take Andrew Luck with 1 of them, knowing full well that it's very possible I get like Kyler Murray, Newton, Winston, Lamar Jackson, one of those guys in the 14th round. Probably not Newton, but some of those guys are going to go in the 14th round. So can I justify taking Luck here? I mean, it's the end of the 6th round. In a real league, you're taking Andrew Luck here. So my only concern is that I build really nice depth. If I got here like Latavius Murray and then, you know, like Robbie Anderson or something, I think I can find wide receiver value late. So I think maybe I just hope that running back falls. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's take a quarterback in the mid-rounds like I say always not to do. But you take these guys when the value presents itself. And the value in the end of the 6th round has presented itself. So we got... And honestly, guys, like, I love Andrew Luck this season. I mean, that offense is nasty. It is an unbelievable offense with a really good offensive line, a really good run game, weapons on the outside. Dude's going to put up numbers. So if you get him in the late 6th round, go for it. But you got Luck, Kamara, Derrick Henry, Antonio Brown, Calvin Ridley, and O.J. Howard. So our lineup's just like locked in right there. I feel like that's a really good lineup. But we're hoping that they don't take Ronald Jones here, because then I'm probably going to have to take Royce Freeman, because I do still want more running backs. And just the value of those late-end running backs isn't as high. While I still love some of these receivers, there are other wide receivers that I will be able to get at the next round to where I'll be fine. So we're just hoping that Ronald Jones doesn't get taken here. Do you think he will? Let's see. McCaffrey, Mack, T.Y. I mean, he's got McCaffrey, Mack, and Drake, and his only wide receiver is T.Y. Hilton. I mean, I'd feel a little shaky having my only wide receiver T.Y., so I'm pretty sure if I'm him, I'm going with Landry at this pick, right? Tyler Boyd? I'd have gone Landry. But, yeah, I wouldn't have taken running back there. So we'll take Ronald Jones. There's been, you know, every report in the book about Ronald Jones, and I wonder if Ronald Jones is just sitting there, you know, like, watching all these reports come in. Because, like, everyone's predicting him to be the guy, and then you see some reports that he looks super out of shape, but then the next day, you know, he'll post something on Instagram, and it's like, who just called that guy out of shape? Like, what? Like, looking at some of the pictures. And reports from camp are essentially the reports that he added, what, like 12 to 15 pounds of muscle. He's up to like 220, which, like, I don't know how good of a thing that is. I guess you could spin it and be like, yeah, he can handle a workload and he can run over people. But typically, I don't know. Like, when has a report come out that a guy added weight and we were like, yeah, like, I guess Philip Lindsay, if it was like he's up to 200, we'd be like, nice, good. But I don't know. He was a speed guy, wasn't he? Well, if he's going to lose the speed, I don't know. I question the decision on his part. But I want to see out of training camp and out of preseason. So when your actual drafts roll around, which should be after the third week of preseason, you guys shouldn't be doing drafts before the third week of the preseason ends. We're gonna know. We're gonna know exactly how they plan on using him. So don't fret. We will know exactly. And also, there's the chance that Duke Johnson gets traded to Tampa Bay, because that's like the team that would trade for him. But right now, I still do like taking him because, I mean, look at everyone else you're taking. They're all backups at this point, right? I mean, there are no starters left. So even if we're not sure he's going to be the starter, well, we are sure that no one else is going to be the starter. So that's kind of my take on Ronald Jones at the moment, at least. So yeah. With this next pick, I'm leaning wide receiver. I know that there's a lot of value late, but I like a lot of the guys in this range. We'll take a look at running backs just to make sure we're not missing out on something. You guys know I don't like McCoy. Hyde would be fine in this range. Samuels would be fine. Foreman would be fine. But everyone's just kind of fine. Let's look at wide receiver. And I think my pick here would be close. I want to know. I haven't heard anything. Have you guys heard anything about Will Fuller? I haven't personally heard any news from that camp. It feels like a good pick if he's going to start, healthy. But I haven't heard anything about his recovery. But Cortland Sutton, he's the one. And all reports from Emmanuel Sanders right now are that, like, he's good to go. Like, obviously, it's like tough. It's tough to imagine. What was it, week 10? Somewhere late in the season, dude ruptures his Achilles. And it's really tough to imagine he's going to be good to go to start the season. I expect him to open on the pup. But if you watch the video he just put out, it doesn't look like a player who's going to open the season on the pup. And so that's a ding to Deshaun Hamilton, but it's not a ding to Sutton. Like, no matter what happens between Deshaun Hamilton and Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton is the outside number one receiver. And I would prefer drafting Deshaun Hamilton a little bit later if I knew it was Sutton, Hamilton, 1-2 with Sanders on the pup. But that apparently might not happen. So I'm going to take Sutton, the guy who is going to be the one, and reports from camp are also that he's been pretty good. So I like still taking him. I was never off him. I just preferred the ADP on Deshaun. So why don't we take another here, and then we can take 2 flyers at running backs. 2? We'll actually get a lot of flyers at running backs. Because we've got Brown, Ridley, Sutton, but I want to take Curtis Samuel at this spot because I do think guys are going to start going after the people that I like, and I don't really think any of these people that I really like are going to be available at the next pick. And running back, like, there are flyers that I would like on my team, but no one I need to get on my team right now. So locking up that Sutton-Samuel pairing, I feel good about those guys as my bench receivers with some upside and some stability. I mean, they're going to have roles in the offense. They're not going to get past. So I feel good. I feel rock solid about them. So I don't need to take a wide receiver. I still can if there's like a really nice receiver in that probably 11th round. I think I'd wait until the 10th to take another running back. But I do feel comfortable waiting because obviously starting Alvin Kamara every week. I'm starting Derrick Henry every week. So I have a risk with Ronald Jones right now and no one behind him. But if I have, I have the opportunity also, obviously, not to start Ronald Jones, put him on the bench, and to start Curtis Samuel or Sutton, which is probably what I do unless I hear that he is starting week 1. But I have an opportunity to wait on some of these running backs to break out. So I have an opportunity to where I can look and say, halfway through the season, who do I think out of this list could take over as the lead back? I just went through and just kind of highlighted, just using like the watch list feature, just highlighted some of the running backs that I would want, that I'm looking for upside. Dion Lewis, I guess, is less than ideal because that would just be a pure handcuff. He's not going to have that much value. I'm not going to start him on my team with Derrick Henry. But I guess that would be like assuming Derrick Henry goes down, now I'm just left with Alvin Kamara. Well, at least I can throw in Dion Lewis, and now Dion Lewis is probably a running back too. So that would be that kind of pick. But I am going to go with Breida here because I know he's got like the torn pec, but I do expect him to be recovered from that. Maybe not week 1, okay? But I'm pretty sure he should be good to go to start the season. But if not, I mean, I'm not worried about them not knowing how talented he is. Like, they just saw him crush last season. They're going to be a really good offense, really much better team than people realize this season. And reports were that, one of these guys is going to be a healthy scratch each week, which is like something that it will be frustrating for you if you need to start him and he's a healthy scratch. But that's honestly like a good thing going this late, right? Because let's say McKinnon's a healthy scratch. Well, now it's Coleman and Breida on a team that's probably going to run the ball a decent amount and a solid offense. Breida could absolutely have a really good game. You're getting him in the 10th round. And now imagine that Coleman were to get injured, because I do expect Coleman to be the guy that they kind of feature the most in the offense. But if Coleman goes down, I mean, you've got last year's Breida, but doesn't have, a high ankle sprain. So he's got a ton of upside, and he's like a very talented running back. So I do like taking him in that spot. Next, I guess I could go Dion Lewis. I would probably prefer Chase Edmonds upside, because if something were to happen to David Johnson, then Chase Edmonds is a running back 1. But I don't know. I could be convinced either way. I've got Kamara, Henry, Ronald Jones, Breida. It's not a strong running back core, but I didn't build this team to have a strong running back core, because I built this team with a stud quarterback, a stud tight end, and just locked in Alvin Kamara to where I don't need much from that running back too. And also have Derrick Henry, who I think is going to absolutely dominate this season. But assuming one of those two gets hurt, I've still got a really good running back, and my team isn't needing, I didn't go running back heavy early where I need the running backs to hit. I don't really need that much from that 2 spot because I feel comfortable with the rest of my lineup. So I'm really only looking for upside with this running back pick. I'm not looking, Nyheim Hines is going to pay off value with this pick. There's no world in which Nyheim Hines is starting for my team and I'm winning playoff games in the championship. That's not what I'm looking for with this pick. Dion Lewis does have that upside, but something would have to happen to my early round pick, so I don't prefer that. But looking at the rest of the players, it would be him or Chase Edmonds. So maybe I wait and hopefully I can get Chase Edmonds with the next pick. Ooh, yeah, I love Anthony Miller. Okay. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Anthony Miller. We're going to hope that Edmonds is available at the next pick, because I don't know, you guys, a lot of you probably know, it's Brett Collerman, something. You guys know who I'm talking about, though. Guy that breaks down a bunch of situations on YouTube, and he did a really good one about Trubisky, and it's not saying Trubisky's amazing, because he's not, but he's like a good quarterback and he has potential. It's just tough to know what you're going to get from him. He's very inconsistent, but he did point out something that I did notice, is that Anthony Miller last season, we all look at his season and we're like, yeah, I mean, not that great, but he had the shoulder injury. He scored a lot of touchdowns. He left a lot of yards on the table. And I very much wonder, excuse me again, just had dinner. I very much wonder what would his ADP be if he didn't get overthrown on some touchdowns, because he had left touchdowns on the table. If he didn't get just terrible passes, he left hundreds of yards on the table. What if he finishes with 200 more yards and 1 more touchdown? I mean, is he a 7th round pick this season? So keeping in mind that they're a very good offense, that Trubisky has another year in that system, that Anthony Miller is now a sophomore and he doesn't have a torn rotator cuff. I believe, was that the injury? It was something with the shoulder. Was it a torn rotator cuff? Now that I think of it, I can't remember exactly what the injury was. I know he had the dislocation, and I think maybe it was only the dislocation, but they may have cleaned up a little bit more than just having a dislocated shoulder at the end of the season. But I know he did dislocate it early in the year, and that has been a problem for him at some points in his career. But regardless, he's good to go going into camp, and he's a really good value in the 11th round. So I kind of took that to say next 2 can be running back, because having Brown, Ridley, Sutton, Samuel, Miller, there's no way in the world I need another wide receiver. I really like this team, though, because I'm set at wide receiver. I love my tight end. I love my quarterback. Obviously, Kamara's a monster. I love Derrick Henry. I'm really just looking at that flex spot, which I'm pretty sure I'm just going to fill in with the wide receivers. But we're looking for upside. So I've got Breida for upside. I want Edmonds. I clicked Justin Jackson. I don't really know how much I love that one. But I definitely want Edmonds with the next pick. It's who else can I target for the upside in the, because I have 3 picks left. Oh, well, because I need defense. So I'll take defense in the last round. I've told people too. I don't really know if everyone will. But Edmonds next, defense 14th. It's really what do I want in the 13th round. All right, guys. So unfortunately, someone did take Chase Edmonds from me. We're going to go with Armstead because of the massive injury history that Leonard Fournette has. He's going to have 0. Like, he's just not going to do anything for you unless Fournette gets injured. But the dude gets injured every single season, so it wouldn't exactly be shocking if it happens again. But we're shooting for upside there. I couldn't really find anyone besides Justin Jackson. I mean, no one that I really think has like a legitimate path to breaking out. Like, I guess Jalen Richard he's going to exceed his ADP, but he's never going to be a guy I want to start on a great team. I guess Justin Jackson would be the guy, and just say this is in the scenario that Melvin Gordon does get traded or does hold out, pulls a Le'Veon Bell on the Chargers, and then because he will be a good pick in the 13th round if that does end up happening. So I guess that's what I'm playing for with this scenario. But I couldn't honestly find, unless you guys see someone that I'm scrolling through and that I'm just like missing, at least for wide receivers, like I don't see anyone that has league winning upside, and that's really all I'm looking for with this pick. So it would be that, or I mean, I took a wide receiver, but I don't need wide receiver. So I mean, none of these guys are. I mean, I could take Josh Gordon with the pick, I guess, but I don't need a wide receiver here. So we are going to take Justin Jackson in the off chance that Melvin Gordon either holds out for the season or gets traded or holds out for a while, and then since he hasn't been playing football, like pulls a hammy or something like that. But there's a path. There's just definitely a path there. The next pick will be defense, but I'm probably just going to cut it off here and just show you guys the end of the draft board. I really do think my team is solid. It would basically just be, can we get that flex spot filled in? Because I do think that this can win a championship if one of the running backs at the end hits. I don't love the running back. So, like, if I were to do this over again, I would probably have waited on the Andrew Luck pick and maybe taken a running back with that pick so I can get a little bit more security at the position. But that's probably the only thing that I can fault. I really like the players that I chose, and I really do like my wide receiver core, and obviously you guys know I love O.J. Howard, and I love Andrew Luck. So make sure to answer the stat of the day, and make sure to tell me which team you think had the best mock draft today, and then they will get a spot in the subscriber league. But that's the end of this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, how about you hit the like button? How about, if you're new here, how about subscribing? But that's the end of this one, and thanks for watching.